Nation's number one DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's number one DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me?
Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Everybody, we're in the building. I'm sorry, we're getting our stuff together here. And we are together now. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's number one DJ. Welcome once again to the Rockwell Radio Show. Glad to have you. We've got an incredible conversation lined up tonight. We've got some incredible guests lined up once again tonight. But before we do, as always, we need everyone watching to go ahead and observe the 3 Rockwell Radio rules. Go ahead and hit that like and share button. Please tag somebody, and last but not least, make this the night that you go ahead and subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show. We are coming up on our almost our 30th anniversary of being on the radio. So we're going to celebrate that, of course. And soon we'll be coming up on our 100th episode. So more news about what we're going to do for that in the very near future. And last but not least, as you all know, we are celebrating the 50th year of hip hop. And we are in existence because we are a show that, this is the case for you who are new here. We are the ones that celebrate the combining of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the hip hop culture, hip hop music, and its endless capability to move our people towards freedom, justice, and equality. So if you're new here for the first time, that's what we do here. That's why we're here. But today, we've got an incredible conversation to have. We want all of you who are interested in the martial sciences to tag somebody in. We want all of you who are brown belts, white belts, black belts, yellow belts, go ahead and tag somebody in who want to hear this conversation with a legend. That want to hear this conversation with someone who has came up the ranks, fought their way to the position, and now is a Grand Master. So now we in the hip hop culture, we hear the term Grand Master, but in this case, we're not talking about Grand Master Kaz. We're not talking about Grand Wizard Theodore. We'll be talking about our brother, Grand Master Abdul Aziz. We'll be talking about our brother, Calvin Muhammad. We'll be talking about those who helped them put on what is now known as the International Training Conference that's happening in Chicago this year. And we're going to talk about that and the benefits of why you should be there. I tell you what, we heard the Goody Mob say 20 plus years ago, who's that knocking at my window? Pal, nobody now. We have got to prepare ourselves. Really quick, I want to talk about the seriousness of this and why. Because we live in such a dangerous world. Are you capable? Are you able? Do you have a basic skill set to defend yourself and protect your loved ones should the situation arise to do so? Can you? Can you fight? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us to make them brave fighters, to train them fast. How many times a week are you at the gym? How many times a month are you at the gym? How many times a quarter are you at the gym? Or are we the ones that's always with the bean pie and the ice cream? Don't let that be you in such a time. Coming up, we're going to talk to our brothers, GM and Brother Calvin, and maybe some more to talk about the upcoming event, ITC 2023 in Chicago. But first, we want you all to take a second and watch this.
2, 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. This is DJ Rockwell, your host of the Rockwell Radio Show. Thank you for joining us. And like I said, tonight's going to be the night where we talk about and we ask the question, what would you do? Can you defend yourself? Are you prepared? And later on in the night, as the title of the show says, the DJ met the Grand Master on the mat, and we're going to watch that clip later on. So tag somebody. Once again, Big Dave, we're going to share with the people the 3 rules of the Rockwell Radio Show. Go ahead and make this the time. You hit that like button. It really helps us. It helps the algorithm, let people know what's happening. So go ahead and tag someone and subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show. Let's bring on our guest. This brother hails from Kansas City, Missouri. He is a great helper and assistant to our big brother GM, serious and passionate about the craft and the training of martial arts sciences. If you are there in the Kansas City area, you can look him up. He would love to help you. Please welcome back to the Rockwell Radio Show for the second time, our brother Calvin Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Welcome back, my brother.
Brother, the honor is all mine to be back with you, my brother.
I think we're going to have a great conversation, and hopefully tonight we're going to get some people signed up for this great conference that's happening once again in Chicago. And matter of fact, before we bring on our key guest, we want everyone to know that in order to register and get more information, you can log on to the website, and the link is on the description of this video. So don't go away. Don't click away. If you want more information about the conference, it's going to be right there accessible to you. Wa alaikum salam to everybody. Matter of fact, for those who are joining us, please let us know where you're viewing from. And matter of fact, if you are a holder of any belt, if you are a black belt, brown belt, yellow belt, white belt, if you ain't got no belt, we want to know, what is your level of training for those of you in the watching audience tonight? And let's get to the business right now. Let's re-welcome back for his second appearance on the Rockwell Radio Show, a brother that I cannot say enough good about. Every time that his name is mentioned with honor and respect. Every time that I see our dear brother, he is the most humble and gracious. He is a reflection of our teacher and our teaching. And once again, I am humbled to have been in his presence this past week here in Atlanta for a training session. And we'll talk about that and much more. Please welcome back to the Rockwell Radio Show, my brother and yours, Grand Master Abdul Aziz Muhammad.
Walaikum
Walaikum salam, sir. Thank you again for joining us and taking time out of your... Matter of fact, it looks like you just got finished working out just now.
I did.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you. Let's jump right in. But again, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and share the show because we've got GM with us, we've got Brother Calvin with us, and we're going to be talking about ITC 2023. Before we move forward and talk about July, let's talk about 2022 real quick. Can either of you please, or maybe both of you, give us a recap of what happened in 2022?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for allowing us to be on your show. You are definitely in, or I should say, we are in rare air being with you on the DJ Rockwell show, and I appreciate it that you have us here. So thank you. Well, man, 2022 was awesome, as Sensei Calvin could tell you. I mean, we had a ton of participants there, and I'm sure we'll get to talk about the aspect of how everyone felt there. You know, everyone's saying Happy Savior's Day. It was just outstanding. You know, so in terms of what happened there was so much there. Now, of course, I'm a martial artist. I'm a martial artist, and I teach that, but the event is always so much more than martial arts. We had Brother Student Minister Nuri and others. They dealt with mental health and things that trouble us. There was a number of there was a panel that discussed that aspect in our lives and in the lives of many of us, you know, where we are not treating things as we should, but we really got an opportunity to get a tremendous session, if you will, from them. We had Minister Ishmael who came and really did a wonderful presentation and talked to everyone that was present. And know that this is not an event that is just for the Muslims. This is an event that absolutely the Muslims were present, but there were those that came in the Milwaukee area that got an opportunity to experience much of what is taught to us, that they got an opportunity to see that as well. Well, there is always something that we're giving, dealing with training those in various mosques and churches, you know, how to prepare, how to defend their houses of worship.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be dealing with that, or we dealt with that. There was, of course, all of the dignitary protection aspects that, you know, from driving, handling motorcade and various things of that nature. There was training that taught about farming, but not just basic farming, but this is farming in terms of how to handle it, how to handle farming in your home in under various kinds of situations. So there was so much that was going on that, you know, you really couldn't even keep up. If Sensei would like to share something, please do.
Wow. Yes, sir, Grandmaster. First of all, brother, you have to forgive me, DJ Rockwell. I'm starstruck right now. I'm a fan of your show. So sitting on your show is absolutely wonderful. And every time I get an opportunity to be in the presence of my teacher, it feels like my first time in class. So I'm listening and I'm just feeling good right now. But as Grandmaster said, last year was really historical, and as you can imagine, this was our first time back together after we had the pause during the pandemic. We had our virtual training, and so we came back together last year. And Grandmaster did something historical, and in all my years of having an opportunity to attend, this is the first time that he'd done so, which was we had our training outside of the Chicago area in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And I'm partial because that's my home city and state. That's where I'm from. But there was a degree of uncertainty, and being the brother who he is, of course, taking the lead of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and putting his faith in Allah, we did that. We let Allah guide us, and it was absolutely record breaking. As people will describe, it was like another Savior's Day. And not only did we have all of those things, I really want to focus on the impact, not just with the believers, but the impact that the national training had on the city of Milwaukee itself.
Okay.
As Grandmaster mentioned, the city of Milwaukee sent over 60 of their own personnel in to get trained. Those who work in conflict resolution in the street, they had an opportunity to get trained. And he mentioned the mental health. He mentioned the farming aspect of it. We had our officers training. We had all of these panel discussions. We had tackled active shooting last year. And what really was one of the highlights, Milwaukee will never be the same after last year's national training as it is every time you attend the national training, because I don't know if you know, DJ Rockwell, but they had representation from the mayor. You had state senators there. You had Congress. You had Congress people there. You had people who were representing as alderpersons, and they named July 28th Grand Master Abdul Aziz Muhammad Day in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Come on now. Come on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Allahu Akbar.
Last year. So it was incredible. That speaks volumes in and of itself.
So suffice it to say that this event now, in terms of focus, is far beyond just the workout, just the martial arts. This now is inclusive almost of a lifestyle of how to live, would you say?
I absolutely agree with that. In fact, yes. Really, just so that we can be honest and open, we open up ourselves to expose those who are not Muslims at what we're teaching them how they can be through looking at the things that we get.
Yes, sir.
So we expose ourselves to them so that they can see and benefit from us, and really it's not about being better than anyone. It's about sharing. We share what we do with the world. The minister, he is the example, and the minister is. He doesn't teach us like this is just for you. This is for all to capture and understand. And we've been instructed. I've been instructed to be a trainer and to deliver this training to others and to us, of course, specifically and most importantly. We want to make sure that we have all that we need in this very difficult time. This is not like any other day and time.
Yes,
we're in the end of days. And in this period, we need to make sure that we are going to survive, and we cannot let our people not understand. So it's open to non-believing persons in Islam and for the Muslims. And it's not just for the Nation of Islam Muslims. We are inviting those from all around, because we need to make sure that we survive this difficult period in time.
Yes, sir. And in fact, that is a great way to segue to this next point that I wanted to get into. We're coming up on our first break, and I'm going to try to squeeze this question in very quickly. You talked about security, Brother Captain, of being one of the subjects that you cover there at the conference. Security, as you know, obviously is a very vast thing in its application. People tend to think of security in specific contexts, i.e. when you go to the airport and you see the TSA agents, or when you see a bouncer at a club, etc. But people don't tend to think of security when they're taking their wives to dinner, or when they're taking their children to the playground. So what does it mean, in light of what you just said, in the time in which we live, to be security minded?
Oh, that excellent question. Because we have to always stay security minded. Because when you mention the day and time, and here in Chicago, hearing about murders, shootings, killings all of the time, but it's not too different from anywhere else in the country. It's happening all over. Well, you know, most times, or I should say, in the past, yes, we would not necessarily believe, you know, as long as you do the right thing, stay out of the way, you know, and you'll be okay.
Right.
Well, that's not the case today. You're more likely to find yourself in a situation because of the day and time, how prevalent it is, and how open it is to find yourself in a difficult spot. You see, sir. So you can't just walk around not thinking and preparing for something to happen to you. This is not yesterday. You know, the minister would say, or has said, and taught us about the time and what must be done. Well, yes, the question is, okay, what time is it? What's happening in this day and time? So then it tells you at that point, when you understand what day and time it is, it tells you what you need to do. So if you are not considering thinking and now going beyond thinking, because see, thinking is the theory. you gotta have an actual action plan as to what you should be doing, you know, yes, how you should be moving, how you can't just be on your phone and you know, be oblivious to what is going on in the world, because there's someone looking for you.
How about that? Brother Calvin, you wish to comment, sir, before you go to break?
Then that sums it up. It really does. And, you know, as we have the theme of this year's conference, safety, security, being the first, representing the S, you know, one of the beautiful things about the International Training Conference, when we talk about security or to secure, you'll notice in that word, you have the word cure.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And so when we talk about security, people have the notion or the mindset of, you know, they look at, you know, all of the militaries and all the high power weapon, but proper security deals with the cure. But when you add the SE onto it, it's talking about injecting before there's an issue. And so one of the things that the national training and the international training has brought to the attention, why the Nation of Islam is so secure, why do you don't have mass shootings that happen in our mosque, is because we have those preventative measures that come in place that prevent it from escalating. Right. And the national training, of course, is that holistic approach that deals with so many different areas that stops that crisis before it happens, as yes, opposed to a response. So, you know, it's absolutely where we are.
How about it, ladies and gentlemen? And read Sister Heck of Ameko's words wisely. Read Brother Jamil's words wisely. We are in a time, we're in a place and space where we have to have not one eye, not two eyes, but three eyes, and keeping eyes on all things around us. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you are tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. My guest, our brother Calvin. My guest is GM, and we're talking about ITC 2023. In the next segment, we're going to highlight some words of our teacher, the Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, of things he said at the convention in 2022. And on the end of the show, you're going to take a look at that clip when me and Brother GM get on the mat. We'll be right back.
What up with it, man? You already know what time it is. It's me, Young Conor Don. I'm up in this thing.
Peace. This is Aziz, the Kid Kareem, the life-giving MC.
Peace, everyone. This is Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, also known as A-Tone, the hip-hop historian.
Peace, family. What's going on? It's Brother Jabril, Brother Mustafa, Lordship Productions in the building.
I am your sister, Arian Nicole. Peace, peace, peace. It's your sister, Sue X, and you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show.
You are now tuned in live to the Rockwell Radio Show.
Right now, you're listening to Rockwell Radio Show.
Rockwell Radio. If you ain't listening, man, you wasting time. You on all these other stations, you need to tap in. Rockwell Radio.
You know what it is. Watch them, watch them, watch them.
I'm here with Brother Rockwell, the Rockwell Radio Show.
If you ain't in the game, you in the stand. Stop playing, man. Let's go.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we are back. This is your host, DJ Rockwell, and you are tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show. We're here every Saturday at 7 p.m. Go ahead and follow the 3 standing rules of the Rockwell Radio Show. That is, go ahead, hit the like and share button, tag somebody. And of course, last but not least, subscribe. We are coming up on the 28th year of the International Training Convention. And with me are my guest, Brother Calvin Muhammad, and our great beloved brother, GM, is in the building with us. Now, what we're going to do in this segment, dear brothers, is go back and take a look at some brief excerpts of what our teacher blessed us with. And I think that you'll appreciate these. And what I would like you to do on the other side of each excerpt is just to comment on what you thought about what the dear minister said. This first one, I think I liked it the most because it dealt with humility. Big Day, let's go with clip number 1.
I was blessed in my life to meet Brother Moses Powell. He did security for me as I traveled in different parts of the earth. He was such a sweet, deadly person. And he never pushed anybody around. He was so humble, with a big heart. Just don't get it twisted. That man was deadly. And he taught you to be that yourself, but never to abuse your gift by misusing it for vain purposes.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, ladies and gentlemen. The question that I want to ask on the front of it, and then get your comment on what he said, is how important is, when you have a skill set like you have, how important is being humble and practicing self-control?
It's very important, DJ Rockwell. It's very important that you humble yourself, especially when you have a level of power and or authority. You should make sure that you humble, because your skill or your authority can be used to oppress someone else when you handle yourself out of sort, if you will.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
it's important that you regulate your temperament, and you have to make sure that you lower yourself so that you do not oppress. Because when you have authority and power and authority, they are hand in hand, because you can use your power, like a police officer can use his or her power to oppress, to injure, or to lift
Yes, sir.
someone. So I feel that it's very important that you do so that you can be able to pass on what you have to others, as opposed to using others to step on and raise yourself because of how you treat someone else.
But before we go to Brother Calvin, it is my understanding that Dr. Moses Powell was your teacher. Is that correct, Brother Captain?
Absolutely.
I never had the pleasure to meet the brother. In fact, I've never even seen a photo of him. What can you say in brief about that dear brother?
Well, there's a film. It's called The Warrior Within. And in that film, there is a woman, I believe it's a white woman, but she is describing him and how he was. She said he's a gentleman, but he is also, it was fear that she had, because he was such a kind person. But his when you look at his power, it could frighten you, because you don't really know how to treat a person that has that kind of ability to move you and deal with you in all kinds of ways, but he doesn't do it. So your power even shows more when you are humble than it does when you are oppressive or a brute. But he was a gentle giant, but nobody would mess with him. I'll tell you that. They knew no matter what the situation was, you were not going to make him, or you weren't going to step on him or say anything negative to him, because you knew better than that.
How about it? Before we go to Brother Calvin, one more thing for those who are watching at home. For those who are practicing the art right now, I want you to shout out who your teacher was in the comments section.
Beautiful.
Show love to who your instructor was. And Dave, if anyone does so, put their names on the screen so we can honor them in this segment today. Brother Calvin, it's on you.
I listened to that clip, and of course I listened to our teacher here, Jim, and I think I can speak for all of his students. One of the things when you talk about being humble, and especially when you talk about getting to the level that he is, a lot of us who train with him, we learn from him. But there's also something that we learn how to learn from him. And I mean that in the sense of, he is always taking his lead from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in the sense of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam, he made, regardless to what our title is, he's made us students first.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so, there's a saying that the moment you think you have it, you've lost it.
Right.
And then there's principles in the martial arts. One of those principles is having an empty mind, and meaning moving everything out. So no matter where you are, and that's one of the things that we observe from our teacher. Here's a man with over a half century in the martial arts. And regardless to who's teaching, regardless to who's present, you'll always catch him on the side, learning and studying. And I think that's a sign for any growth that we would obtain if you want to grow. And that's what you see all of the greats. We see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always learning from his teachers still. And we took that lead. And when you humble yourself and you realize that whatever you know is nothing compared to what you don't know, that's enough to keep you humble.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, you are clocked in with the Rockwell Radio Show. This is DJ Rockwell. My guests tonight are our big brothers, GM and Brother Calvin, and we're talking about the International Training Convention happening in July 28th, if I'm correct, through the 30th, in right there in headquarters, Chicago, Illinois. And you can read all about it, learn all about it by going to the website, which is in the description of this video. And we want to hear more about it coming from our brothers. But let's go first to clip number 2 of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's go, Dave.
So when you can let Allah, God, come in, where when you move your tongue, it's his words. When you move your hands to teach others how to defend themselves, that's what God has given you, because you're living among your enemies.
Go ahead.
So you have to know how to fight.
That's right. It's a must.
And you must become skilled as fighters. But the first war, the greatest war, is with yourself.
Let's focus on the last part of that first war. It always seems to me that as it relates to learning a martial art, there's always a necessity of self-control, self-mastery. Can you all expand a bit on that first war?
Man, the minister said it now. That's the biggest war. When you have to deal with, let me start you with when you're beginning. The war that you go through when you're just starting out is believing that you can, when you're facing something that the objective of the teacher is to help you to grow, and growth is done by placing resistance on you.
Yes.
If you're lifting weights, the resistance of the weight is what strengthens you, not giving you what you can lift, giving you a measure of resistance. So I'm not going to also give you what you can't do, but I'm going to give you enough that is going to make you work hard. So the first part is being able to believe in yourself enough to say that I can, because you're faced a lot of times with either believing in yourself or believing that you can't. And when you believe that you can't, then you now put down the resistance, you put down the weight, and now it stunts your growth. So the teacher has to see that is going on. The teacher has to see that at this point, I may have to take a couple of plates off of your bar, because this is a little too much for you. When you see that the person, so you give them the opportunity to recognize that they can, but then you put the weight back on as you see them grow. So the first part is just believing in yourself. Yes, and then you're constantly going. I want to bring your attention to in closing the gap, the minister speaks about a time warp. And in that time warp, he speaks about change. The thing that in Allah's creation, the most consistent is change. Yes, that you are going to go through changes in your life. So So once you get to one level, and it looks, or it would be a belt. When you get to one level and you feel confident in that one level, you then are tested with another level coming in, because the minister says when you get to that ease, okay, which is ease. Once you get to ease, and that ease is mastery of a level of knowledge, you then are faced with difficulty. But if you are not ready to go through the difficulty, and you are comfortable in your ease, you'll stay there. And that is where your death starts, when you stay at an area and not face the difficulty again. So, it's important that we help the student or someone to move and constantly grow and see their growth. There are some that they think that they don't want to. They think it because they don't know what they should do, but they believe that I just want to stay here. I don't want to go through the ranking process. Well, the ranking process is only a process of growth. So you don't stay in one position, that we help you to challenge yourself to become better.
Beautiful, beautiful. Brother Calvin?
Man, he summed it up really, really. That there's a part of the Holy Quran that urges the believers to say not that you believe, but just say that you submit, because faith is not yet entered into your hearts.
How about that?
Right? And when you ask that question, and when I listen to Grand Master, I'm always thinking on those in front of us, our leadership, our teachers. And one thing Grand Master mentioned is that what we know as being students, and what we all can share as far as being members of the Nation of Islam, we're taught that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad loved us more than we hated ourselves.
Right.
They use hate because we didn't have any love for ourselves.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we've always had someone in front of us that could see our potential, that can guide us through those areas. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who guides us through those areas. So that war with ourselves as a pillar of Islam, which is jihad, which doesn't mean that we're going to go and blow up buildings or anything. It's talking about the war within oneself, to strive hard against the war within oneself. And so that's why there are more people who enter the dojo and leave than those who stay. That's why there are always more people who accept Islam and leave than those who go through the process. That's why there's always more people who enter college programs and don't finish versus who complete, because that war with self is prevalent, especially in this world when it seems like everything is going against you. But we have the benefit of having the game rigged. Teachers like Grand Master Abdul Aziz Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Allah himself backing us, who is kind of rigging the game a little bit. So all we have to really do is submit, even in those hard times, because we have people who can help us navigate.
Come on, beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show. With us tonight is Brother GM, our national trainer, and our big brother, Calvin Muhammad, there out of Kansas City, Missouri. As a matter of fact, did I tell you that I was from St. Louis? And so we kind of homies, let's go ahead and get into the final and third clip of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Dave, let's go.
I want to thank Grand Master and all the Grand Masters, male and female, that are here. And I want to thank you for demonstrating the greatness of your skill. But the most moving thing to me is that you didn't keep your skill to yourself. And that is what makes you favored by Allah God, because you discovered your gift And in discovering your gift, you discovered your reason for being, your purpose for being on this earth at this time.
Again, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to focus on purpose and gift. Do either of you believe that your particular purpose is to do what you've been blessed to do in teaching and reaching out people with this particular art?
I would say yes, absolutely. When people are searching for their purpose, what I see and look for is Allah's blessing that keeps me on whatever. I have not really looked for my purpose. I just allow Allah to bless me in all of the things that I do. And when I see that he's not favorable to something, I alter the something to the thing that he's favorable in my opinion too.
Yes,
so that's how I found and why I've been traveling the road that I travel, and then I see how Allah connects things in my life, and he's shown me what I should do, and the minister has helped me to find my purpose. And in fact, if my purpose is not aligned with the minister, then I don't consider it to be something that I want to even go for, because I am and desire to be a tool of his. So it's not separate from him. If it was anything that was separate from him, then it's troubling to me. So it has to work in accord, and I'm just thankful to Allah that he's blessed me to do the things that I have done on behalf and for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which is for myself.
Absolutely beautiful. Brothers and sisters, I hope y'all caught that beautiful gem our brother just polished and gave to us all. Brother Calvin?
Absolutely. I was really pondering what Grand Master just said. And as he was talking, I was just reflecting on the formula that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave all of us to find our purpose. And he gave it to us in 6 simple words: accept your own and be yourself. Right? And so when we enter that formula into our life, then that goes back to what we said before. The submission process begins, and what you were born to do starts to emerge. And I say that because it was really at the national training, listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a man who has put martial arts in a perspective that I have never heard it being put into. As Grandmaster said, he took the martial arts and he made it synonymous with Islam. When you deal with submission, you deal with learning, you deal with growing, you deal with pain, you deal with trial, you deal with the capacities to deal with things. And when I look at it, I look at the martial arts as when something that has become a lifestyle for many of us that helps to drive you into your purpose. It makes your Islam better. It makes your life better, dealing with conflict resolution. And so I absolutely, as I listen to my teacher and I listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in that constant struggle of accepting your own and being yourself, I absolutely believe that it was the initial encounter that we all had that put us on the path with Islam, and then learning the martial arts, learning how to grow, learning how to experience pain, learning how to be empty-minded. It continues to keep us on the path of our purpose.
That is a pregnant phrase, empty-minded. Wow. Can you just take 2 seconds to expand on that thought, empty-minded?
Well, it's real simple. If you think your glass is already full, nothing else can come in it, right? So you in order to receive into the vessel, you have to constantly empty the vessel. And so that's what we're talking about.
And could I respond a little bit on that as well?
Yes, sir.
In terms of that, as brother Sensei Calvin shared, emptying your mind, it also operates on the level that we have been taught, lean not on thine own understanding. Now, what does that mean? Lean not on your own thinking. See, that means that there is a thought coming from someone that we should be leaning on, and emptying your mind is so that you don't have many minds operating. The minister says that he and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad are one. So he doesn't have a mind of his own other than the mind of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So he's not leaning on his own understanding. He's leaning on the thinking of the servant of Almighty God, Allah. So that is, being relieving yourself of your own mind, so you can only have the mind of God as a focus for you.
Beautiful. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you heard it first right here on the Rockwell Radio Show. We are joined by my brothers, your brothers, our brothers, GM live from headquarters, and our brother live from KC, Brother Calvin Muhammad. We will be right back. Coming up for the last segment, the DJ meets GM on the mat. See y'all right after this. Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Vaughn Muhammad of the Rockwell Radio Show. For years, I've been hearing the same thing from a lot of people. Brother Vaughn and DJ Rockwell are completely two different people. So I came up with a way to separate the both of us, and perhaps we can get along better if we try it this way. Introducing DJ Rockwell. What we're going to try to do is do this together and not get on one another's nerves. Every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, check out your brother Vaughn Muhammad and this guy, DJ Rockwell.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother Nuri Muhammad, and whenever I'm searching for a source or a platform that I can get some news that I can use, I look forward to and look at, watch and listen to the Rockwell Radio Show, and I hope you would do the same. Tap in with Brother Vaughn, DJ Rockwell, and this great platform if you want to be inspired, enlightened, informed, uplifted, and properly prepared to perform in the world we live in. Rock with the Rockwell Radio Show. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. With us tonight, our brother GM, our national trainer, and with us is brother Calvin Muhammad. And we're talking about the International Training Convention happening there in Chicago, July 28th through the 30th. And you can learn and register by clicking the link, which is found in the description of this video. And before we get into the grand finale scene of the DJ meeting the GM on the mat, I've got one final question I want to ask. It's about the gun culture in which we live. I read a CNN story recently that made note of just the sheer volume of weapons that are available to the American citizens. They say in this particular article that I read that there are more guns in circulation than people. An estimated 393 million weapons belong to private owners. My question is this: if people are now armed to the teeth as they are in this country, and now that being able to obtain one has become easier, licensing is now being loosened, permits being loosened, why do people need to learn a martial art?
Well, the need to learn martial arts is the need to protect yourself. See, in our community, the guns that are there, yes, everybody is able to get armed to the teeth, but it's just in our community that being armed to the teeth means that we have illegal weapons that we have access to, and the mind of one who has a legal weapon and one who has an illegal weapon is based on what they use them for. So the weapons in our community are our people turning them on each other. So the weapons that are presented to us are not purchased in a legal way. It is purchased on the black market, and I think black market is a really good term, because the market is all about targeting the black market, our black people by each other. So others though have weapons also for us. You see, they are ready to prepare to defend themselves against us, while we are using the weapons that we get to attack ourselves. So we have to, you have to have something. So a weapon is a tool that you use to either protect yourself. It's for the purpose of protecting. We just do something different sometimes. So it's a tool. So martial arts is a tool that's legal, and you can carry it with you as you move about. So the weapon or the tool is your mind to use the skill so that you can defend your life. And just to mention my student, you mentioned him as brother Calvin, but he is a 3rd degree black belt, so he's not just an average citizen. He is a skilled practitioner in training, so that he has the ability to disarm and or use someone else's weapon against themselves. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
And I want to thank you. And I want to make sure that I'm framing my question properly. Let me add a bit more dimension when I pose that question, because of said culture, perhaps many people are leaning towards they don't see a necessity for having to practice such a discipline because they can rely on this. So I wanted to speak to that faith in this as opposed to this. So that's why I wanted to reframe and clarify my question. But Calvin, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was, again, listening to Grand Master and listening to your question. I got to reflect because the beauty of having a teacher like Grand Master and the beauty of having a show like you have, brother, it synthesizes our way of life with the tools that we are using. And so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I was listening to a very old lecture, and he had tackled the question of why the Muslims don't carry guns.
Yes, sir.
And he said that if we had guns, we would just end up killing one another because we are working amongst our people. And you just mentioned something. Whenever you remove God from the equation, the nature of people is going to always seek for God, even if they can't identify. And so the gun culture that we have in the United States is reflective of a godless culture of people seeking a God that can save them. And so I don't know if you've ever experienced being with or seeing someone who is disarmed. The moment they lose access to whether it's a gun or their knife, their God is gone. And there's a saying in the martial arts that, you know, even if you have a weapon, you have to get to it. People have weapons in their houses, and there are laws in place that says, you know, you have to have it locked. You have to have a trigger lock. Well, how does that work when somebody's kicking down your door and you're upstairs and the weapon is downstairs? You got to get to it, right? And so, you know, when you consider those things and you incorporate the martial arts of our, for lack of a better term, our weapon is always with us. Wherever we are,
yes,
our
sir.
weapon.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Beautiful, beautiful. That question came because just as we read our headlines every day, we see the carnage on the street. And here in Georgia, where, as you may know, the permit is no longer a requirement. And everybody, their grandmama, their dog, their cat got a weapon. So it just made me think of that perhaps people are really have placed their faith in this tool, as opposed to, and as you just beautifully pointed out, Brother Calvin, their own ability. Because what if they don't have access in the moment that you need it? So, brothers and sisters, before we go to the final clip, we want to ask everyone once again to go ahead and hit that like and share button. We want everybody to go ahead, tag somebody. This is the Rockwell Radio Show, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're here every Saturday at 7 p.m. with a guest to have great conversations like this. And the reason that we're here tonight is to help promote the International Training Convention happening there in Chicago, Illinois, from July the 28th through the 30th. On the description of this website, you can go and click the link to learn more about it and register today. So, without further delay, let's look at DJ meeting the GM on the mat. Dave, let's go. I'm good so far. Well done. I can still feel that. For those who are watching that didn't quite get what happened, Brother Jim was walking us through a technique, and unbeknownst to me is that when you start to feel the pain, that you should signal the person training you that, hey, that hurts. And so I didn't quite hear what brother said, and I didn't feel it, so he said it again. If it hurts, tap out. Huh? I don't know. Huh? And then he turned it up and oh, wait a minute. I feel it now. So, brother, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your time, and your purpose with all of us. We greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I cannot thank you enough. In closing, I want to play an audio clip from the very closeout of that training session. It is the creed that you had your class recite. I want to play this clip, this audio clip of that, and I want to get your comment on the creed.
As we walk, we walk in peace. And fear will not prevail. We are not the aggressor. aggressors.
We are not the aggressors.
But if we are attacked, we fight with those who fight with us.
We fight with those who fight with us.
And if we must fight, we fight to the death.
We fight to the death, sir.
Can you please, dear brother, tell us about the origin of the creed, the meaning behind the creed, as we close?
About the creed?
Yes, sir.
Well, see, the creed is, it said, as we walk in peace, and fear will not prevail. And that it's assimilated from what we have said in the Nation of Islam, just with a little additional. And I want to say that it was my younger brother, Professor Chris Muhammad, who was a student under me as well. He pulled that one together, and see, there you go. The objective is to be humble. So when you hear something that is good for us, you should accept it. And yes, my brother put that together, and it became the first of a number of the three creeds that we have. So as we walk in peace. It is your disposition should be to walk in peace, but if we are faced with the difficulty of fear, you see, we won't let it prevail. We won't let it overcome. We won't let it take over us, So as we walk in peace, and fear will not prevail. We are not the aggressors. But if we are attacked, if someone has the mind to attack us, we will fight with anyone who tries to break our peace. We will not allow them to overcome us. And if we must fight, we'll fight to the death. And I tell my students, I say, listen, when I say to the death, that that doesn't necessarily mean your death. That means the death of that initiative that has begun. So if someone is intending on hurting or harming or killing you, you will fight to their end first. And if we have to go to our own, we will die, as we in the Nation say, the death of a Muslim, and that is one without fear, one believing in Allah. So that's some of what is meant by our creed.
Beautiful, brothers. Thank you once again. Thank you. I am beyond gracious and moved by your presence today, once again this year. Can we just get a final quick thought from the both of you? A quick, maybe 30-second summary on why people should be going to this link and clicking and registering today.
Listen, you need to do it. We had such a turnout. I'm getting to the point where I don't know if we can keep it open, because the numbers that are coming in, what you don't want is to get cut off. Right. You want to make sure that you are one of those that's going to be a part of it. So this is not the kind of thing to wait on. For instance, the rooms, we had to open up a host hotel, because we've gotten to the point where I'm sorry, not a host hotel. We opened up another overflow hotel, because the host hotel have sold out its hotel rooms. So so if you waited, you're going to be just a block away, but you won't be in the main hotel because it's sold out. So don't allow the registration process to get to the point where we can't manage everyone that's coming. So you need to take care of that business so that you can be on the front end of getting this powerful training that's coming at you.
Yes, sir. Brother Calvin, the final word is yours, sir.
Man, I agree. And see, I think our problem is we live in a society where everything is on demand. If you don't have something right now, you can have it in a few minutes. Amazon will deliver today. You can stream the movies, that you want. But when it comes to our life, we've been taught that there's a certainty coming for the righteousness. There's a certain time. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talks about the time and what must be done. And he's been warning us. I don't know if you heard his Ramadan address, but he's been warning us to prepare. The ability, we don't believe in a spook God.
Come on.
We don't believe in a spook God. The ability to defend oneself is not something that you can access if you don't already have it. You know, you can, if you've never trained, if you've never worked on how to defend yourself, if you've never worked on this skill set, we don't believe that it's going to mysteriously appear at the moment when you need it. The only way it's going to be there for you is that you have to work at it and work at it now. And so Grand Master is taking the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's preparing us for a time in which we've all been told that certainly come, a time of trouble for us, that big showdown. And so don't wait. Put it in your storehouse now. We're storing up food. We're getting prepared. We're learning safety precautions, and we have to do something to learn to defend ourselves.
Brothers, it can't be said any better than that. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you both. Ladies and gentlemen, get to the website. The link is in the description, and we will see you all in Chicago. Once again, this is another one, and we are out of here.
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. Everybody, Rockwell Radio Show. That means you too. Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. That's right now. Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on now, y'all. Yeah. It's a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Top tripping.